Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Daily News on Breaking News on Prince Miller Entertainment TV. Subscribe to the channel. Remember, guys, to follow us on all our social media platforms: Instagram, Prince Miller Entertainment, Facebook, Prince Miller Entertainment Facebook group, Prince Miller Entertainment TV. Welcome to another edition of our Daily News on Breaking News, Everyday News. Welcome new subscribers who are watching us for the first time. Daily News on Breaking News, it comes to you guys each and every day, each and every hour, keeping you guys informed about news, events happening in and around Zimbabwe. And to all our loyal subscribers who have been with us since day one, big up to you guys, Magakosha. Without you guys, apana. So your support means a lot, and I really appreciate. And so let us hear nyama sanctions nyaneza. And we all know kuti the government have been calling for the sanctions to be removed, since Mugabe time up to now. My sanctions are not ngave my sanctions because Zimbabwe kuti budirire vari kuti ma sanctions ndio akamisa zvinhu kuti zvisaenderere mberi. And so the United Nations UN will deploy special rapporteur to Zimbabwe to probe the impact of sanctions on the country and determine if President Emerson Mnangagwa's government was not using them as a scapegoat to the prevailing economic crisis. UN Special Rapporteur Alan Duman from Belarus is expected to be in Zimbabwe from on October 18 to 28 at the invitation of government. Doan is expected to meet government officials, the opposition, and members of civil society. Subsequently, a report on the findings will be presented to the UN Human Rights Council at its 51st session to be held in September next year. She is currently seeking the views of all relevant stakeholders to inform the thematic and geographical focus of the visit. A subsequent reporting read a statement by the Office of the UN Human Rights High Commissioner yesterday in order to gather first-hand information related to the negative impact of unilateral coercive measures on the enjoyment of human rights in a specific country, enabling her to conduct her assessment and evaluation of such impacts, and thus to prepare relevant recommendations and guidelines on means to mitigate or eliminate these adverse impacts. The special rapporteur undertakes field visits. Zimbabwe has been under US sanctions since 2001 when the world superpower, the United States, signed the Zimbabwe Democracy and Economic Recovery Act into law in response to the deteriorating human rights situation in the country. The measures have been renewed over the years since 2001, and in mid-March 2021, the US renewed its sanctions regimes in the respect of Zimbabwe, South Sudan, and Iran for 1 year. The European Union (EU) also imposed sanctions which they described as targeted. In February this year, the European Union renewed its sanctions on Zimbabwe, imposing an arms embargo and a targeted asset freeze against the Zimbabwe defense industries for 1 year until 20 February 2022 in light of the continued deteriorating of the humanitarian, economic, and social situation in Zimbabwe and the continuing need to investigate the role of the security forces actors in human rights abuses. The UK government also slapped an asset freeze and travel ban on 4 Zimbabwean senior security sector officials who are said to be responsible for committing serious human rights violations and as such undermining the rule of law. The late former President Robert Mugabe, before he was toppled in a November 2017 coup, claimed sanctions were hurting the ordinary people. Mnangagwa, when he assumed power, said sanctions should not be used as a scapegoat, but later made an about turn, claiming that sanctions were derailing the country's economic recovery. Among Zimbabweans on the sanction list are members of the Securocrats and the line ministers who stand accused of human rights violations, including deploying the army to kill civilians, particularly on August 1, 2018, during the post-election disturbances and in the January 2019 anti-fuel price hike riots. Other officials and companies linked to the governing party are also on the sanction list for their alleged involvement in aiding corruption, among other things. In March 2017, the Human Rights Council adopted Resolution 3413 on human rights and unilateral coercive measures that stressed that unilateral coercive measures and legislation violated international law. The resolution also highlighted that in the long term, the measures may result in social problems and raise humanitarian concerns in the state's target. But local opposition parties and observers argue that in Zimbabwe, sanctions were not behind the economic crisis. They said corruption by the ruling elite and senior government, as well as NPF officials, was responsible for the country's economic situation. The special rapporteur will meet various representatives of government before having private meetings with the UN agencies in Zimbabwe, as well as in international and regional organizations, international financial institutions, the National Human Rights Institution, and the representative of the diplomatic community present in Zimbabwe. So guys, that's the latest here regarding to the United Nations stance on the Zimbabwean sanctions. It seems like this would be a good look and for the country itself, because if this report shed a light on the impact of sanctions on Zimbabwe, I think Paul on America and UK, maybe other countries there, to remove the sanctions. But I don't know because there's two other conditions sanctions of which the government have done a little to actually address those issues and my problems my sanctions agara aripo and but at the same time could my sanctions yabviswe urumende inofana kuita zvinhu and ndonya inonetsa yekutoti they're not addressing those conditions akapiwa neAmerica neEurope yacho yokuti wakwanise kubvisa masanctions. So changoramba chichungunzwa nyaya idzi dzichingotenderera. So we wait to hear more and from this whole situation kuti zvakamira sei here on a daily news, on breaking news on Prince Mila Entertainment TV. Sanctions are part of the problems that we as Zimbabweans are facing, but nyaya corruption doing it remain the more main issue here in Zimbabwe, whereby the government needs to deal with nyaya corruption. Individuals should be held accountable and for nyaya idzi, because those will go affect and nyika ikurasikira nemari yakawanda through some loopholes which other guys are using kuti vakwanise kutora mari yenyika. But this is our daily news on breaking news on Prince Mila Entertainment TV. We keep you guys in the loop pakatika any new development. So subscribe to the channel and remember to follow us on all our social media platforms. The lady, she's gonna be coming to Zimbabwe soon, and she's gonna meet the ruling party, the opposition parties, and other civic organizations in Zimbabwe. And regarding to nyaya sanctions, kuti aone impact ma sanctions kuti yakamira sei. Is the government just trying to use sanctions as an excuse of not addressing nyaya dzinoda vanhu here? Saka pakaipa inyaya yekutoti ichange ichinetsa in the next few weeks and because most people are going to be presenting their own case studies to this lady UN achaya kuno kuzoona nyaya idzi and saka mune munhu ane maonero ake and mune munhu ane mafungiro ake towards nyaya dzema sanctions. Some people may say these sanctions are not affecting the ordinary people. Other people are saying that they are affecting ordinary people. One or two, whether we are in sanctions or no sanctions, the country is on its knees. It won't change anything. Tomatoro anoto vangwe and ikasakatsinga zeuti report yacho ninge yakamira sei, and also other people vachange vachipawo ma testimonies avo nema reports avo kuti anenge akamira sei towards nyaya dzema sanctions and so ngatitaure. Remember guys to subscribe and turn on notification bell not to miss any of our new uploads. We upload each and every day. This is a daily news on breaking news on Prince Mila Entertainment TV. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Remember guys to subscribe and turn on the notification bell and you cannot miss any of our new uploads. We upload each and every day here on our favorite channel, which is a Prince Mila Entertainment TV. Bless up. Good morning.